Now let's talk about components of a funnel. So this is a completely built out funnel with as much friction as you possibly could have. And we'll talk about when to use this and when not to use this, but I wanted to give you guys kind of a lay of the land. All of my sales reps know I'm a big proponent of framing. So this is kind of like what we're about to talk about, right? So what we're going to talk about is the Optin page. That Optin page could, once it's built out, go to a VSL page. And the VSL, if you guys don't know, is video sales letter. It's essentially a way to be able to qualify a little bit more. And then once they go to the VSL page, they kind of get some information, watch the video, saying, okay, cool, I'm definitely qualified for this offer. Then boom, they book a time, and then they go to the thank you page, right? So let's break these down. Now the Optin page, what should the Optin page have? Optin page should have, bare minimum, a headline and a call to action. What we find works really, really well is to have a pre-headline above the headline and then have a post-headline to kind of add a little bit more context, right? So you can see here, our pre-headline is like, hey, this is a free training endorsed by over 600 service-based business owners. And then the headline is, how we generate over 1,273 leads, 597 appointments, and close almost 80 new clients every single month using the same simple 3-step process that we use inside of our business or something like that, right? This one says scaling strategy. And then the post headline says, without wasting hours on cold prospecting or ads that don't work, right? And then you have the call to action. Very simple, in your face. It says, hey, show me the proven client acquisition system. Now, if you scroll up, you scroll down, this is it. That's it. That's the only thing you need to do. There's no footer. There's no header. There's no, there's like homepage about us. This is very, very simple, right? Now, what I want to talk about, remember how I told you guys that it doubled our opt-in rate when we changed the layout of the funnel? So what we were looking here is just a couple months ago, this is what our opt-in page looked like. We had about a 14.22% opt-in rate. And then so we were like, okay, it was me, Zach, and Josh on a call, and we were like, hey, what should we do? What should we change? What should we change? Okay, so we were like, okay, we know that usually the headline is usually the best thing to change to be able to increase the opt-in rate. But what we also wanted to test is like, hey, well, if we want to make drastic changes, why don't we make drastic changes on the funnel? Why don't we change the entire design and the layout and see what happens with that? Now, what we did is, obviously, you can see the button got bigger. We just removed the GIF there, and we kind of condensed the headline a little bit more. And then we did have a footer. I don't know if it's on here. We had a footer, and I think we had a header, too, with a logo. And it looked more like a website. But now, this is literally just a white page with a headline and a green button. And that outperforms our old almost by double. Now, what does that allow us to do? Right? That's going to decrease the cost per appointment by almost half. It's going to decrease it's going to double the amount of leads that we have for our salespeople, and it's going to double the amount of sales calls that we're taking. So what have I been doing for the past month is I've been hiring sales like crazy, all from this page right here, just making this one change. That's crazy. All right, so opt-in page. It could be different things, right? It doesn't have to be a funnel. We talk about minimal viable product and making sure that you can get product market fit. Now, what it could be is it could be just a lead form, like we talk about Matt Trace, right? I think he's still running lead forms, if I'm not mistaken, and he was able to scale up to $1 million business, $1 million run rate just from lead forms. Now, a lead form, for you guys that don't know, is essentially what happens is you create a Facebook ad, you click a button, and the form pops up right in Facebook. Facebook likes it because you're not taking them off the platform. Right? It makes it super easy. Sometimes their name, their email, and their phone number automatically populate in there, right? And you click the button. Now, what you can do is you can have like a thank you page where they book a time. Or if you wanted to add in more friction, you could go to just like a funnel, a page off of Facebook, right? And then the kind of like the key components of that is you can have the pixel, you have all the data, and then it usually increases the friction a little bit and gives you guys more quality. Right? So let's talk about the VSL page. Best thing that you want to do for the VSL page is, number one, obviously have the video up top. You see that little black button, that little black play button? That black play button. Make sure that you have one of those on there. And one thing that we did find for increasing the likelihood that they watch the video is having like a GIF. So if you guys go to our page right now, that's like a GIF of like me talking and it loops every like 5 or 8 seconds, right? It looks like it's playing, and then you click it and they're like, okay, it actually plays, right? And then also make sure that you guys have the call to action. You see that button that says book a time now? That's above the fold. We didn't have to scroll down at all. And then I had a GIF on here. I guess the GIFs aren't playing. That's okay. So let's talk about the booking page. Booking page, you just want super simple page that just says, hey, book a call. Again, super simple. It has the calendar on there. That they go and select a time, and then if you want, you can have like an application on there, right? So this is a step further from, so this is the booking page. You can add in additional questions. Like some of the questions that we have is like, hey, tell us a little bit about your business. What are you currently struggling with? Where are you at? I guess like how much money are you making right now? One thing that we kind of put, well, I'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that tomorrow. So, and then after the thank you page, once someone books a time, what you want to do is send them to a thank you page. It says something like, hey, we've reserved your appointment right now. There's a couple of things that we need you to do, and this is where you can start getting in that 7-hour rule, right? So you can start producing content and putting that on this video. The number one thing that I think everyone should do on here is to create a thank you video. Create a list of all the objections that you guys are getting on the calls, and then start creating videos based off of those objections so that you can address those objections before you even get on the call with somebody, right? And so that's one thing that we're constantly doing. We're constantly asking feedback for the sales team to figure out, hey, because the market changes, right? What the objections are right now could not be the objections, or there could be new objections. And then we try to create content, and that gives us, like talking about our content process earlier, that's probably, that and the application page is probably one of the biggest feedback loops that we have to be able to produce content. All right, so that's the thank you page. One thing, I don't know if you guys can see it right below the Conversionally logo. It says something along the lines of, hey, if you are absolutely interested in working with us today and you don't want to wait, just go ahead and call us. We've had a couple of people that have closed, like on a one-call close just from that, because they've already seen our content and they kind of really know that they want to work with us. And they essentially, what happens is they call, it goes to Daniela. Daniela's like, hey, Donna, this person's pretty hot, so you might not want to wait 2 days. You might want to call them right now, and then boom, they close. So let's talk about friction and quality. So I talked about the entire sales process, I talked about the entire sales funnel. And so one thing that we want, there's people probably in every single stage of business in this room, right? Now, I'm not going to recommend that you guys have a funnel, an opt-in page, that you have a booking page, you have a thank you page, that you have an application on your booking page, because that's a lot of friction. That's a lot of things that people have to go through. Now, what you don't want to do is start out with all of that friction, because it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to book appointments at that point. If you're in the position where you don't have at least 6 sales calls on your calendar every single day, then you need to think about how you can start removing friction so that you can start having those calls, taking those calls, listening to the market, and figuring out, okay, if I'm not closing at this rate, then what is it about my offer? What is it about the way I'm communicating, and getting that feedback so you can just improve, right? Now, let's talk about the 4 phases of friction. So phase 1 is essentially you're probably looking at like a lead form going to like a booking page, right? So that's phase 1. What you're going to do is you're going to get more volume. You're going to get more leads, probably going to get more appointments, but the quality is not going to be as great, right? And you can go phase by phase by phase. If we go all the way to phase 4, that's probably something like an opt-in page that makes them enter in their information, and then it goes to a VSL, a pretty built-out VSL. Essentially what that's doing, that page is doing, is disqualifying the people who aren't good fits, right? And just further qualifying the people who are. And then from the VSL, they click another button, and then they go book a time. And then you can add an application. So our application is like 10 or 13 questions long, and every single step there is adding more friction. You get all the way to cool, they booked a time, they've answered all of those questions. What we're going to see is a lot less volume. We're going to see a lot less appointments. However, the quality of that appointment is going to be a lot higher, right? What's that? Sorry, that should be more. Yeah. Yeah, so it should be more volume, less quality. It should be more quality, less volume. Yeah. I'll fix that when I send out the slides. So phase one, like I talked about, Facebook lead form goes to a booking page, then goes to a thank you page. That's pretty basic. That's least amount of friction, probably going to get the most volume. Phase two, opt-in page. So you're going to take them off of Facebook, right? And you're going to take them and put them onto an opt-in page. Let's just say you weren't doing Facebook lead forms and you were doing TikTok. I think TikTok has a lead form too. You were doing YouTube. You would just probably start with phase two, go straight to a landing page, a booking page, and a thank you page, right? And so again, that's a little bit more volume, but the quality is going to be a little bit higher. And then you go to phase three, then that's going to be opt-in page, VSL, booking page, and thank you page. Right? Now, let me kind of back up, right? So if you guys, like I said, if you aren't at least getting on 6 sales calls every single day, you're going to stay here. You're going to stay here until you do. You're going to stay here until you have as many appointments that you can handle. Then, I think Abe's in this situation right now. Then, once you have as many appointments as you can handle, you can start assessing. You're like, you know what? The people that I'm getting on the phone with, they aren't the best. They're not qualified, right? And then, okay, so I know, Abe, you wanted to talk to me about this, so here we go, right? If you're in that situation, what you need to do is boom, you go to phase two. Okay, cool. Let me take them off of Facebook and go to a Facebook opt-in, go to an opt-in page, right? Because what that's going to do is that's going to have them manually enter in their information, right? You're going to have a headline. It's going to be you have a pixel. You can even retarget them. Then you go to a booking page and a thank you page. Run that for a couple weeks. If you're still finding the same thing, boom, phase three. Opt-in page, VSL, booking page, thank you page, right? And then usually at this phase, what you're going to find is that, okay, I have a good amount of appointments on my calendar. I have a lot of people that I'm speaking to, and they're good quality, right? So you may stay at phase three for a little bit until you hire a couple of sales reps, and then your sales reps are going to be like, hey man, these calls suck. I need better people. The sales rep will always say that. I love you, Donna. I love you, Jonathan. I love you, everybody. But the sales rep will always ask for better leads, no matter what position that you're in. And so you'll probably stay here for about a little bit until you hire a couple of reps. And then what you're then going to do is you're going to add in an application, right? Do you see that change? It's the same thing. Opt-in page, VSL page, booking page, but the booking page, you add in an application, right? And then once you add in the application, the quality becomes better. Sometimes maybe the volume increases. We actually just added in a question that is pretty bold. And if we'd probably book 40 calls every single day, 40 booked appointments every day. And I think now we're at 35. And we made a very bold kind of claim on that. You guys want to know what it is? I don't want to be secretive about it. So what we did is we put on there, hey, if you're not making over $10,000 a month, then just don't book a time. I'm not sure that we'll be able to help you. Now, we can help people who are making under $10,000 a month. However, what I want to test is I want to see if that increases the quality of the people that we're getting on the sales calls with. Because the number one objection that I feel like we get on our sales, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, is oh my gosh, dude, I love everything that you're doing, but I just don't have the money right now. And when I do get the money, I'm coming to see you, right? And so what I want to try to see is okay, let's see if we increase the friction, if that increases the quality of people on our calls, and if that increases the close rate. Because if, like I told you, if we're booking 40 and now we're booking 35, that's really not that big of a drop. And if it increases the close rates by 5%, at our rate, 5% is a big jump. That's a lot of money for us. So that's something that we're testing right now. So a couple KPIs that you guys want to have, from opt-in rate to VSL page, you want to have 20 to 30%. That means 20 or 30% of people who land on your opt-in page go to your VSL. Now, once they land on your VSL, they should probably be pretty qualified. So 50 to 70% from people who go to your VSL should go to the booking page. And then about 70% of those people who go to that page should book a time, land on the thank you page, right? So those are the KPIs. Again, I think I've already covered this, but if you guys could see, just from that opt-in page tweak that we made, just from that first stage of the funnel, we were able to double our opt-in rate. And that only means that the double amount of people were able to go to the VSL page, double amount of people were able to book the appointments. That means that we have double the, hopefully double the revenue, right? Because, and really we don't have double the revenue, because what we're facing right now is I can't hire enough sales reps to handle the appointment that we're currently facing right now. And it doesn't help when you take half your sales team to Cancun and the calendar is very limited. So just a little pro tip there. So again, I just want to just kind of tie it back here with the big picture. The big picture, guys, is you want to make sure that you have that lead generation process in place. All of these steps, from a lead to a booked appointment, from a sales call to a close, right? It really all starts with that first step. And that all starts with the funnel, right? If you're not generating those leads, then you're not booking appointments. If you're not booking appointments, you're not hopping on sales calls with people. And if you're not talking to people, you're not closing people, right? So that's funnels. All right, guys.
If you enjoyed that episode, press here for a list of all of the best videos from our channel. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. See you guys later.